Continuing with the 2024 college football season team previews with the Texas A&M Aggies. And I do apologize that I haven't been making these team previews in the last couple of weeks. I was really into the Summer Olympics, despite the controversies that were in play throughout the Olympics. Overall, I felt like the Olympics were exciting, and we were introduced to a lot of legends in the Olympics, but that can always be another conversation for another day. But the focus right now, the college football season, and more importantly, the Texas A&M Aggies. And 2024 will be the first year for head coach Mike Elko in College Station, as a head coach at least, as they parted ways with Jimbo Fisher in November of last season. It looked like that they were going to hire Kentucky's Mark Stoops, but after the reactions from the fan base in College Station on social media and the message boards, they went back on that hire and ended up hiring Mike Elko. And I'm going to be honest, Mike Elko isn't exactly a splash hire, a home run hire, a flashy hire by any means. Not to say that he will be a splash hire one day or he won't be able to be. But sometimes you don't need to make a major hire. Like, you don't need to try to throw money at Ryan Day or Dabo Sweeney like what they did with Jimbo Fisher. Sometimes you just need to find the right fit. And I think Mike Elko is the right fit for A&M, a better fit than what I thought Mark Stoops would have been, who was the original hire, but based off reactions, they held back on it, ended up hiring Mike Elko, which Mike Elko, he already understands the culture in College Station already to an extent, not fully, as he was the former defensive coordinator for the Aggies before leaving for Duke for a couple of seasons, and now he's back in College Station wearing the headset as the head coach for the Texas A&M Aggies. And he has a lot to work with this season. 18 returning starters, 9 on offense, and 9 on defense. And that includes quarterback Connor Wigman, who was out for the season early on in the year with a foot injury. And the last 2 seasons, or should I just say, in the games that Connor Wigman has been under center for the Aggies, I have been impressed with him, as I feel like the offense, it is more smoothly operated and it's a better flow of offense than every quarterback that I have seen at Texas A&M post Johnny Manziel. And I do feel like Connor Wigman, he is has the potential of being a Heisman contender this season. I would not be surprised if he was a Heisman finalist this season. That's how much upside I think Connor Wigman has this year for the Aggies. They were unfortunately informed of bad news yesterday. Sophomore running back Ruben Owens is out for the season, which that is really a it really is not good for the depth of the running back position. As I felt like going into the season, I felt like A&M, they had perhaps maybe one of the top running games in the entire country. But taking Ruben Owens out of the equation, I still think the running game will be solid this season with Le'Veon Moss and Amari Daniels. And we'll see who and if a third and fourth running back take center stage for A&M this season and how they'll all be utilized. As far as the receiving core is concerned, perhaps they could be one of the most underrated in all of the college football. Moose Muhammad, Noah Thomas, who we saw flashes of Noah Thomas last season in the Miami game, but then most of the rest of the season he went pretty quiet, as he wasn't involved as we all expected him to be after the Miami game. And Ja'Day Walker, all day. On the defensive side of the ball, their defense is going to be led by Purdue transfer Nick Scourton, a projected first-round pick in April's NFL draft. Shamar Stewart and Shamar Turner. They unfortunately lost Walter Nolan to Ole Miss in the transfer portal. I feel like if Walter Nolan was still with the Aggies, I think the sky would be the limit for Texas A&M this season, especially defensively. And perhaps they still can, but we'll see how I feel about their schedule for this 2024 season. And let's get right to that. I did forget to acknowledge the AP preseason top 25 came out today, and Texas A&M will start the 2024 season as the 20th ranked team in the country, and their season starts August 31st at home against a top 10 team in Notre Dame. September 7th, they will host McNeese State. September 14th, their first road game of the season at Florida. September 21st, they will host Bowling Green. September 28th, Arkansas. October 5th, at home against Missouri. October 19th, on the road at Mississippi State. October 26th, at home against LSU. November 2nd, on the road at South Carolina. November 16th, at home against New Mexico State. November 23rd, on the road to Jordan-Hare at Auburn. And on November 30th, to wrap up the regular season, a rivalry renewed against the Texas Longhorns. How do I see the 2024 season playing out for the Texas A&M Aggies? Let's go right through the schedule. August 31st at Notre Dame. At home against Notre Dame, excuse me. I do feel like this is a 50-50 game to me right now, but I do think there is a slight edge for A&M, as the crowd is going to be insane in this game. They're going to be loud and rambunctious, and it is in prime time. College game day is going to be in town. As 50-50 as I think this is right now, I do give a slight edge to A&M in this matchup. But it's not by that much. It can change from now until the week 1 predictions video. September 7th, McNeese State. I have that as a win for A&M. September 14th, on the road against Florida. Their first road game of the year. I am not sure how Florida is going to look this season. I actually do think that this is 60-40 in favor of A&M. I do think it's going to be much closer than what a lot of people are going to think from now until this game. But maybe a slight edge to A&M in that one, depending on how Florida looks in their first couple of games in the season. Bowling Green, I think that's a win. Arkansas, I would put that in the win column. Missouri, I'd put that in the loss column. Although I'm not really sure how Missouri is going to look this year as well as Missouri. They have some momentum for 2023. Mississippi State has been a team that's given A&M trouble in the past. But I think with, to an extent, a new look Mississippi State team, I do think they made a good hire in Jeff Lebby. But I do think with how I'm thinking this could go for A&M this year, I think that's a win. LSU, I do think that is in the loss column. South Carolina, New Mexico State, and Auburn, I do think they win all of those games, although Auburn could be a trap game because maybe they're looking forward to playing Texas that very next week, and it's a rivalry renewed. So they might not take that game as seriously as you would want them to, but I have that in the win column for now. And the final game of the regular season at home against Texas, rivalry games, anything can happen. I'm not sure if the start time for this game has been released to the public yet, but if it's a night game, I do think A&M has a strong chance of pulling off the win. But if it's during the day, I do feel like I have to give the edge to Texas on that one. So I'm putting that in the loss column for right now. So to recap, Notre Dame, I'm leaning towards that being a win. McNeese State, a definite win. Florida, I'm kind of leaning towards A&M, but things can change from now until week 3. Bowling Green, Arkansas, I'm putting in the win column. Missouri, for right now, is in the loss column. Mississippi State, for now, in the win column. LSU in the loss column for now. South Carolina, New Mexico State, and Auburn are all in the win column right now. And Texas, at the moment, is in the loss column. As I actually do think that the ceiling for Texas A&M is through the roof, essentially. As I do think that they could go as high as 11-1, believe it or not. But the absolute worst case scenario, I do think, is 7-5. And that's the absolute worst case scenario. And I'll be surprised if they end up going 7-5 or worse. But overall, my predictions for right now is I feel like 9-3, 8-4. I do think that they do lose the games I'm thinking right now in Missouri, LSU, and Texas. But they could lose a game that we don't expect them to. Like maybe Mississippi State, they give them fits again. Maybe Florida, it ends up they're a lot better than what we predicted in the beginning. So I'm thinking 9-3, 8-4 as of this moment, but the ceiling through the roof at 11-1, and maybe a college football playoff appearance is on the horizon for A&M. But comment your thoughts down below. Which team should I do next? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one.